Prpl Foundation came into existence, I'm thinking it's about 2 years ago now. It was a collaboration primarily when it started of Imagination Technologies, who owns the MIPS processor framework, and some of the companies related to them that use it, such as Qualcomm, Broadcom, Lantique, and some other companies. And over time, Prpl has become an open source, open standards foundation, primarily focused on things that are kind of related to MIPS, but not specifically. And very much our goal is to broaden open source within these companies and work together with the companies and open source communities.
Very cool. You know, in fact, last week I was speculating what the heck is MIPS, and Guillermo gave me that it's still used in routers and stuff. Mm-hmm. I remember it being like was it a DEC product originally? And so how did this other organization get a hold of it?
I wasn't around at all at that time, but I believe Imagination bought it from, I think, MIPS Technologies or something like that.
Okay, back when you were a tyke.
Yes,
I'm an
pretty
old
much.
guy. I'm an old guy, and I remember all this stuff going by eventually, you know. And unfortunately, my memory has a half-life, and I think it's somewhere on the order of 2 hours. So I don't think I remember much about this. Mm-hmm. So you primarily MIPS stuff, but you said you're branching out. You want to talk about some of the projects that specifically Prpl's been involved in?
Yeah.
I mentioned a few of them at the top of the show, but I don't know if that's comprehensive or not.
Yeah, those are the big things. I can go into a little detail. Prpl WRT is actually not a fork of OpenWRT. When we originally started, we were thinking might be. Really, it's just a place for companies that are involved in OpenWRT to get together and talk about projects and issues that are relevant to them. And then to try to build relationships with the OpenWRT and lead communities. One of the things we really started in the last 6 months is we're working on funding projects that are related to OpenWRT, that are valuable both to our members and also a number of the OpenWRT community as a whole. We started our first round of funding. It was in April or May. And we funded 4 projects. The projects we funded were, there was a project that involved scheduling internet access, adding support to Lucy for scheduling internet access based upon MAC address. This was of interest to a few smaller companies that ship routers and sell them to families and things like that. We funded another project that related to scheduling Wi-Fi access. Similar kind of concept, support for it in Lucy, and actually make it possible. Those are some smaller projects we're funding, but were of interest to the community and were suggested to us. The bigger projects we're funding right now relate to the TR-069 protocol. It's a remote management protocol primarily used by telecoms. A number of our newer members, Soft at Home and ADB, they sell to cable companies, they sell to telecom providers, and we are looking that we may have some larger carriers that are going to be interested in joining Prpl or going to join Prpl very soon. And we're funding support for adding TR-69 to OpenWRT and LEAD, and we're funding that project, facilitating that project. We brought a number of companies together at a meeting in Paris, along with Luka Perkov, who is a core team member of OpenWRT, as well as Felix Fietkow, who is a committer to LEAD, and got them together to kind of sit down in a room, talk about the technical issues that are involved, the business issues. I mean, we don't want to create something that is not of use to businesses, but at the same time, we need to make sure that it is valuable and doesn't, overlook the needs of the community. We don't want to have anything that is that ignores one side or the other.
Now, this show's been going on for a really long time, and I don't remember whether we've actually interviewed the OpenWRT people at all. And I'd be doing Googles right now to answer the question. That's how long. Again, my memory's got a half-life of a couple of hours. So, Tell us, back up a step. What is OpenWRT? And let me first explain that I think what it is some application that you can run on a small router that basically provides captive portals, so you can share your internet with, say, public customers if you were a restaurant or something. Is that close?
That's one use of OpenWRT. OpenWRT is really, I would almost call it a meta distribution of Linux. If you if you want to build a version of Linux for mostly for routers, but usually embedded in general, that has particular features built in, that it's a really great platform for doing that, and it's a lot of fun to work with, and it's of interest to our members because our members, many of them distribute a version of OpenWRT that for their customers, that they've modified in some way, that they've added additional features on top of, or has a particular configuration that's of use to them. So that's kind of how we why we're interested in that. So yeah,